Welcome to the woods. Second time I've tried this. Autumn's coming, leaves are falling. Most of the prep work here has been done. Spent yesterday on the water system again. And the last video I did about digital ID had the usual comments. People standing firm, not going to get a digital ID. And it had a few others as well. It had a few people panicked. And I understand that. It's not a nice prospect. So we're gonna look at what the digital ID is, and then I'm going to give you a few home truths. Not pleasant, but sometimes needs to be done. Hold on to your braces. So the digital ID, is it going to be the brick card, or is it going to be something else? Two schools of thought. It could be the brick card. I think that will come out. I think it will sit there in the background for a while. I think a lot of people will go ahead and take it up, and that will give them a digital ID that they can use. And I think things will be bolted to it, but I'll get on to that in a minute. However, a lot of people don't want it, are adamant they're not going to get the Brit card. They won't get that one digital ID. Unfortunately, they will still be allocated a digital number in the background that will be used by the government to harvest all of their digital data. And it works like this. Palantir came out and said that they won't be bidding to work on the Brit card. That it's not been it's not been put forward in the manifesto. The public don't want it, so they're not going to tender for that work. However, what they will work with the government on is pulling all of the other digital data sources together at the back end, so that the government still has all of your digital information. And unless you're off grid, you're going to have many digital data points. Have you got a bank card? It's a digital data point. It's a digital ID. If you've got a passport, it is a digital ID. It also carries your biometrics. The new one is I didn't even know all of this. The new passport can be scanned by your mobile phone, and all of the information and biometrics held within the chip in there can be scanned by your mobile phone and transmitted to anyone else. Something I found out when I was putting the Woodlander initiative together, and the solicitors use a program called Third Fort, which is a identification verification system that a lot of solicitors use, and a lot of other companies are using it as well. And in order to do that, I had to scan my passport with my mobile phone, and that passed the information to them. I don't know how it does it. It's all kind of like witchcraft to me. But I'm just telling you how connected all this stuff is already. Have you got a loyalty card at Morrison's or Tesco's or wherever? That's a digital data point. It's also a digital ID. You've been allocated a barcode, which is linked to a number, which is your digital ID. Now, at the moment, all of these things are single purpose and single data points. What Palantir is talking about doing is bringing all of that together to a single digital ID at the back end that you don't even know exists. The government will then be able to scrape all of your digital data and do what they usually do, which is lose it, sell it, pass it on to third parties. But more than that, they'll be able to then do what they do with a single digital currency, which is instruct the people to follow their objectives. And they do. which is why you've seen people in the past be debanked, because the government has asked them to do that. They didn't just think of it themselves. This is the sort of thing that will happen. A lot of people know that if you're a company director now, you've been allocated a digital ID to deal with government issues and Companies House. Because that's a government service, you need a digital ID, and that's mandatory. You can't choose to opt out of it. If you want to remain a director, you've got one. And a lot of people have said, well, it's not an issue because it's a single point and it doesn't stop you shopping somewhere, it doesn't stop you doing something else. No, it doesn't. But you need to be aware that all of these digital data points are going to be grouped together. You will be given then a single digital identity that you probably don't want and probably won't ever know about, and that's how they'll get you. Your parking app won't allow you to park. Your bank card won't allow you to make a purchase. Your passport will be declined. So yes, they're all separate, but there'll be one ID at the back end of it, which is controlled by the government. The other way is easier for them, slightly, and I do mean slightly easier. They'll roll the BRIC card out, but they're going to start doing the same thing, which is they'll start bolting things to it for your convenience, obviously. If you want a doctor's appointment, they'll ask you your digital ID, and it's instant. You'll get an appointment there and then, which is nice. It usually, takes 95 phone calls and then hanging on the phone for 3 hours listening to some atrocious music. But doing it digitally with your digital ID, you'll be fast-tracked. If you haven't got a digital ID, then you'll have to provide proof that you're entitled to that healthcare. So you'll have to take your passport and 3 forms of address verification, the original documents, not copies. And you'll have to take them down in person to the doctor's surgery. They'll have to take them off and scan them, and then you'll have to go back home, make the phone call and give the reference number that the receptionist has given you, because they won't allow you to do it in the reception. So you can see how it's going to be much more convenient to have that ID, to do something as simple as make a doctor's appointment. And if it's convenient, a lot of people will get the ID. They will bolt everything they can to it. Foreign travel. If you want to go abroad, you'll need a digital ID. That's already creeping in. If you want to go into any mainland European city at the moment, you're going to need a biometric, fingerprints and face scans, and it's. But once they've got all that and it's linked to your digital ID, you'll be fast-tracked through, and you won't need to give your fingerprints on entry, and they won't need a 360-degree photo of your face and your skull and your brain and whatever else they want. A lot of people are going to take it. And I know that in the comments there'll be a lot of people saying, I'm not going to take it. That's why that other system's going to be in place. The truth of the matter is, over the last 2 decades, more money than you can ever imagine has been put into this whole reset. Companies, individuals, trusts, NGOs, billions, billions, trillions. This is going to happen. Don't think that signing your name on a petition is going to make a difference. Don't think that Reform are going to get in and they're going to junk everything. One, it's unlikely they would, right? And even if they did, okay, it'll be there in the background. It would still be harvesting everything you've got. It's unlikely that Reform, one, could junk it. It'll be tied into too many things. It would be too inconvenient. It would be too costly. They'll give a £20 billion contract to someone. which is payable even if it gets junked, and it'll be payable on yearly amounts, and they're not going to be able to do it. It's coming. Whichever way they choose to do it, it's coming. And I can hear everyone saying, but I won't accept it. And that's good. So here's the home truth. The only way you won't accept it is if you've got an alternative way of supporting yourself. Listen to that. The first things to be bolted to that digital ID are going to be things that the government supply you with. Money in the form of pensions or benefits, welfare of any description will need a digital ID. If you don't have a digital ID, you won't get them. How many of you who are on benefits or have a pension can simply say, fine, I won't have it then, and it won't affect you? Not many. So the truth of it is you will take it, and you will obey them, and you will do as you're told, because if you don't, your money will be cut off. It's that simple. If you desperately want to say no, you need an alternative way of supporting yourself. If you haven't got that alternative set up now, start looking at the groups that are putting those alternatives in place. Here's some good news. You might have a digital ID right now. You probably have, and it's not hindering you. And the government at the moment aren't dictating to you. They can't control it yet, which is what they want, which is what all of this is about. Don't panic just now. Understand that it's coming. Understand that it's on the cards and that there isn't a way around it. We might be able to delay it, but it is coming. The good news is, if you can start to set up alternative ways of looking after yourself, alternative ways of living where the government isn't in control, you can walk away from any digital ID. Put it down. Walk away from it. If you don't need that pension, if you don't need that welfare, if you don't need that job, then you can walk away. Unless you can do that, start being honest with yourself. Unless you can do that, be honest. You're going to take the digital ID. And human nature says that what you're going to do then is justify it. You're going to tell yourself and others that actually it's not that bad. I saw this happen during COVID with face masks and vaccines. People who said they never would did. And they did it because they wanted to go on holiday. And some were in a real tight bind. They were vaccinated because they wanted to keep their job. They had to keep their job. If they lost their job, they'd lose their house. Who wants their wife and kids out on the street? So I get it. But for the last 5 years I've been saying this. We need to build the alternative. Now we've already started. We're ahead of the curve. Alternatives do exist. Are they 100% set up and ready to go tomorrow? No, we're still building. We're still putting infrastructure in place. We're having conversations at the moment about alternative currencies, about alternative methods of trade. How can we offer alternatives that work, alternative ways of living? How can we help one another? How can businesses continue? If all of that sounds like the sort of thing you need to know about, get in contact. We've just done 12 months work with our legal team. The whole thing's going to be restructured over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I've been saying this a while, it's done. I really should do a video on it. The website's being restructured at the moment. A lot of work's gone into this to ensure that it can continue. Because we know what happens. We know they'll try to shut it down in one way or another. They'll come after me and they'll call me every name under the sun. They'll say that this organisation is that name or some other name. They'll do what they can to slander it. They'll do what they can to put people off because they don't want it to succeed. They've already tried. It hasn't worked. For everything they've thrown at us, we've got round it, and we will continue. So those alternatives are there. They are coming. And you can get involved and help us grow that. Let's get your ideas involved. I know there's some smart people out there listening to this. Get involved and help us make it better. This isn't a shut shop. It's here for the British people. I saw Neil Oliver put something interesting on X the other day, which is those who don't have a digital ID and don't use that central currency won't be paying any tax. As a business owner, that sounds quite nice. As an employee, which many of you are, imagine not paying tax. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? To be able to keep what you earn. That may not be in the job you're doing now. It may be in a job that one of our members gives you. You may be paid in slightly different manner. But our money won't be going to the government. It'll be going to us. We'll keep the money. We'll use it for what we want. We'll grow our communities. We'll work together. There's lots of things wrong with society. I touched on demographics in the last video. I'm not going to talk about it today. It is a major issue. But this digital ID is a prison for all of us. It is a reversion to slavery. And our grandchildren, or our children, will grow up never knowing anything different. At the moment, we have free choice. And I realise it's hard, which is why I've told you not to panic. At the moment, the government aren't dictating through that digital ID, but it will come. You know it's going to come. It has in every country they've introduced it to. And it will be global. And it will contain your money. and they will be in control of that as well. Your life will be small. You will not be free. And I can't ever live like that. So, in true Anglo-Saxon, I have a message to the globalists, to Keir Starmer. You can take your digital ID and you can fuck off. Because there's enough of us to build something better. To build something that we can pass down to our kids, to our grandkids, and future generations. We will hold our heritage. We will build something now, and it will last far longer than the shit show you've got ready. Speak to you later, folks. Take it easy. Don't panic. But for your sake, get involved. You're going to need an alternative. Later.